Yes, hello everyone. This is Dano from Dev Device. We did a little bit of breathing exercise just now before we start our session with my dear guest Cheryl, the founder of Makan Bites. Welcome, Cheryl.
Hi there. Hi, Dano.
Yes, hello. I somehow thought that we are both in Malaysia because I'm in Malaysia, and Makan Bites. I mean, anyone who is in Malaysia would understand that this is a very Malaysian company name because Makan means eat in Bahasa, right? But yeah, it turns out you're not in Malaysia. You are in the UK right now, right?
Yeah, I'm currently in United Kingdom. Yeah, I'm in the
Yeah,
UK.
United Kingdom. And you are running a very interesting company which kind of connects Malaysian suppliers to international outlets. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. So my company, when I first started, it was a B2C platform, and it was during the pandemic. Sometime in 2020, I started selling a lot of Malaysian products online. And it kind of snowballed after that because a lot of opportunities came up. A lot of companies were asking, how am I able to explore the UK or even the Europe market? And this is how the B2B platform came in. And now, with the business growing rapidly and a new business partner on board, I've been able to connect with a lot of corporate clients, government agencies, organizations, all from Malaysia, but also from Southeast Asia as well. Getting connected with them on how to get their products into UK and Europe market.
Wow. So you're kind of an ambassador for Asian manufacturers and food producers, and you're bringing their stuff to Europe. Is that right?
Yeah. So this platform just helps assist a lot of these new international brands that have wanted to explore outside of their own country. For instance, they may not know how UK works or how Europe works. Labeling, packaging, how they want to position themselves in the market, and all that. So, what I've done is created workshops so that they
Oh.
understand how things are done. And these workshops would help them, sort of like a gateway, to make them to for them to understand and guide them and support them how things are done here. So we've got a lot of programs under Makan Bites, under the company, the new branding, the new platform that myself and my new business partner has created. And for this, it's growing rapidly because this was something that was planned sometime end of last year, and we've already got a few clients on board with this idea. Sometime in September as well, I'm gonna be doing a trade show, and I'm also facilitating as a trade show coordinator for another corporate client of ours to showcase uh, uh, the brands here in the UK. So that's going to be a 2-day event, and on the third day, I'm going to introduce them or do some business matching with potential buyers that would be keen or interested in their products. So that's going to be going on in September. So a lot of things going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot of stuff. So you're like a matchmaker between European and
Yeah.
Asian brands, and man, I mean that sounds like a very high level kind of business. I mean, how did you come across that? I mean, did it just happen by people asking you? Did your clients just came to you just like that? It just, or did you reach out to them and did you actually introduce yourself?
Well, well, it came both ways. So there were individual companies that were keen to, get their product out there. Um, they just wanted to get out of their comfort zone, not supplying nationally, but also on an international level.
Yeah.
And there were also government agencies that needed help. They had a list of SMEs, they had a list of companies that wanted to pursue beyond where they are now and go further on an international level. And this is where I come in, we've got the buyers, and they they're saying things like, we want something different, we want something new.
Explore new
It's,
markets or explore
yeah,
new
explore,
products.
and then it's the same old here, and
Hmm.
you've got a big list of companies overseas in Southeast Asia that want to come into
Hmm.
the UK or Europe market, but they don't know how. So this
Hmm.
is where I come in to guide them
Yeah,
and
yeah,
support them. Yeah.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Do you also do this the other way? Do you also introduce European countries to the Asian marketplace?
Yes, we do as well. We do bilateral
Wow.
trade as well because there is a demand for that. Uh, because this part of the business has just started, so we're taking it as it goes because we know that there is a demand. It kind of snowballed because it was a word of mouth from Malaysian government agencies, and now I'm also working with Indonesia and Malaysia as well, and I'm also organizing some a webinar for that,
Mm.
for Indonesia, for Thailand, and also so that will also lead to another trade mission, and that would also lead to a trade show end of this year, sometime in sometime in December. So there's a lot going on. Every month
Hmm.
there's going to be something going on. But I'll be back in
Hmm.
Malaysia sometime in July
Hmm. Hmm.
for a workshop. So that's
Hmm.
going to be a week workshop, teaching, guiding, giving them case studies, examples of what to do, what not to do, and yeah, just getting them equipped for the trade mission, basically.
Hmm. Okay. Wow. So that will be an opportunity for us to meet in person, maybe when you're
Yeah,
back in Malaysia. But
yeah.
that kind of makes me curious about you. You come from Malaysia, right? You grew up in Malaysia, or did you grow up overseas?
Ah, I'm born in
Let
Malaysia.
me put it this way: what was 10-year-old Cheryl's life like? Where were you when you were 10 year old?
Okay, so I I was uh when I was 5, I was in the States. I followed my parents to the States, and I came back when I was 10. So
Oh,
back
okay.
then, yeah. So back then, I didn't know a word of Malay. It was very difficult for me
Oh.
to understand the Malay language. But over the years being in Malaysia, I've learned how to speak proper Malay. I'm
Hmm.
originally from Sabah, from Borneo, Sabah.
Ah. Ah.
Yeah,
Okay.
where they have
Okay.
all the beautiful islands and all that. And
Mm.
yeah, uh, and yeah, I just found it really difficult to adapt to the Malaysian culture and all that. But as time went by, it became a lot easier.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So when
yeah,
you were 10-year old, you came to Malaysia with your family,
yeah,
and then you kind of started living here in your mother country, so to say,
yeah,
when you were
yeah,
10 years old. So
yeah,
you went to school, you had to learn Malay, the language from
yep,
scratch. So I
yep.
think that would have been a challenge in school, when you go to a government school and you don't speak the language. I guess that was tough.
Yeah, yeah. Back then, they didn't have international schools, and it was straight in to government school with uniforms and
Hmm.
the China doll haircut and all that.
Hmm.
So it was it was difficult to adapt
Yeah, yeah.
because back in the States, you use free clothing. You didn't have uniform, and they
Oh
only
man.
speak yeah, and they only spoke one language, which was English. Um, but in hindsight, it was good because now I know, you know, Malay. I mean, Malay is I know two languages, and I can speak and write fluently. So
Mm.
that's not a problem anymore. And in hindsight, I mean, it was good to get back on learning my mother tongue as well. Yeah.
We have a lot in common there because I had a very similar experience when I was 10 years old. My family migrated from those days Belarus, White Russia, to Germany. And I think that was kind of a similar experience of coming into a completely new environment. And of course, as you mentioned, the school traditions, like what you do in school, and I mean, back in the days in the Soviet Union, we had to sit like this, we had to hold our hands like this all the time. And we wanted, if we show up, we had to do like this. And then when the teacher would call us, we had to stand up, put our hands on our thighs, stand up and speak, and then sit down. And for the rest of the class, we would have to sit like this. And then I came to Cologne, and everybody was just hanging out, and they would show hands like that, and they would not even stand up when they were asked to speak. So to me, it was a complete shock. I thought like these guys are gonna they're gonna get into real trouble like very soon, but no, they didn't. So it can be quite an experience to come into a completely different culture where you don't speak the language, you don't know the culture, everything is different. So I can completely relate to your 10-year-old experience. But so what was the next step? What was the next big thing that happened in your life after being like a 10-year-old kid?
I don't know. I wouldn't say I was I wouldn't say I was smart when I was a kid. I would say I'm stubborn. I was stubborn because I just wanted to be different. I wanted to explore being outside of Malaysia, to be honest. Because I've always thought that there's always going to be something else that I can see. I mean, I've always wanted to explore.
Yeah. So when you were 10 years old, there has been some kind of major event, I guess, after that. Like, for example, you ended school, you went to university, or you started some kind of education, or maybe there was did you have a specific vision, passion in mind as a teenager? That's something that you wanted to be, some kind of idea of what your adult life should be?
Oh, okay. So after graduating from high school, I got a diploma in banking, and then after that, I got a degree in finance.
Wow.
And I started working before I graduated, and we didn't have a lot of money back then, so a lot of things that I did for work, I had to save. And so on my graduation, my parents couldn't come because that time we didn't have Air Asia, but it was, I had to save up money for my own convocation, and I was alone, really. But I enjoyed being independent because I bought my own ticket. I attended my own graduation. I had a couple of friends, classmates, took a few pictures, and just went back. And I went back to working in the banking industry for 20 years. And I gradually, climbed the corporate ladder. I was initially an officer. I did really well. I won a lot of awards for what I've achieved, whatever target that was given. I became a sales manager. I became branch manager in a few areas. And there was this big opportunity to go senior level, but the position was in KL. And for me to have that same position in Sabah, I'd have to wait for another 10 more years. And that was out of the question because I'm impatient. I'm not a very patient person. And I took the opportunity. There were several candidates that were, just as good as me, and they shortlisted it to 4. And eventually, the bank chose me out of so many. And I moved to KL, and I had this, big city job, big responsibilities, and all that. So there were.
Which bank was that? What bank was it?
When I've jumped from a few banks to another, and it was all because there was a better position that was being offered. And the last for this position, it was M-Bank.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay, that's a very
yeah,
big Malaysian bank. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was, yeah. And
Well, you would be the one to know the bank industry or landscape. I mean, I just see the names on the roadside,
yeah, yeah,
but that's all I know about banks in Malaysia. But yeah, there must be a lot more to it.
yeah. And
Yeah, M Bank is a private. It's a private bank, right? M Bank,
yeah, yeah, it is a
privately.
private bank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
So I was in charge of a cluster of branches, and you had branch managers reporting back to me, and I had a few hundred people reporting under me. So
wow.
just the thought of moving was quite daunting, and having this big responsibility, a new life in this in the city, so-called city.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I
why
think those were
so-called
those.
city? Why so-called? Because
Yeah,
it's
because
Kuala Lumpur, right?
Kuala Lumpur, coming from Sabah, and then you're like, I mean, I couldn't handle the traffic, to be honest.
Oh,
It was horrendous.
me neither. Yeah, yeah.
So it was big. It was like it was big jump for me.
Hmm.
But I was ready. I was so ready to
Hmm.
go. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't see that coming. So you were actually in a very high position in the bank, and from being like a banking corporate professional, senior officer, you then migrated into being an entrepreneur. So how did that happen?
Yeah. So what was how do I? So I was in Kuala Lumpur for a couple of years, and my husband, he had this opportunity. He got a promotion from his company, and they really liked what he did. He he was holding a regional position, and now with that promotion, it was going to have him be in a global position, and the opportunity arose to move to the UK. So all expenses paid, and I was very happy with that. We moved to the UK, and that was the time when there was the pandemic. COVID happened,
Mm,
and all these plans of traveling, all these plans of making new friends and all that, it just stopped, complete
mhm,
stop. So arriving to the UK, I didn't even know who my next door neighbors were.
mhm,
So that's when all your creativity came out, because you were forced to stay at home. You had to stay at home. You couldn't go out, and that was how Makan Bites came in, selling things online. And I did have these thoughts: what's going to happen after this? Is this going to be what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of years and see how it goes? So that's what the plan was, to see how it goes. And over the years, things started to open up, um, with COVID and all that, and more inquiries for how can I get my product there? What can I do to improve my product? Would this presentation be acceptable here?
mhm.
So I was like, you know, people get paid to be asked these questions.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm
Yeah,
still, I still don't get it. So you were an officer at M-Bank, then
yeah,
you just stopped, you just quit to follow
yeah,
your husband. Is that right?
yeah, yeah.
So you just said, "Hey guys, bye bye, I'm leaving," or did you work for M-Bank from UK still?
No, Bank
No.
is a very national, very
Yeah,
local
yeah, that's what
bank
I
in
thought. Yeah, it's
Malaysia.
not an international
Uh,
bank, right? So there is
but
no UK
yeah,
branch.
yeah, but oh
Yeah.
yeah, so going back, before moving to the UK, I I stopped working in the bank to have another child. So
Oh, okay,
I
okay. So
stopped.
you were maternity.
Yeah, so I stopped for 2 years, and then I got bored of it, because I don't think being a housewife is my thing.
Mhm, mhm.
And yeah, and I just started to get curious about what other opportunities that
Mhm,
would bring
mhm.
me, because
Okay.
it's more of my work ethics. It's more about
Mm,
things that I can do even if I wasn't in the banking industry. So I did ask myself, is it because I'm working in the banking industry that's made me like this? Or is it me? And if I move to a different industry or do my own business, is it the skills that I have shaped myself as what I am now? I've had these questions in my head a couple of times. So I said, I don't want to go back to the banking industry anymore because of the stress and all that comes with it. So I said, why not try this and then see where it takes me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you just came up with this idea, why not I just create a website and sell stuff from Malaysia to the UK? Was that your
Yeah.
initial idea?
Something like that. Something
But
like that.
you
Yeah.
know, I've been in the e-com industry for quite a few years, and it takes quite a bit of effort, to first of all to have your supplier, to have your products, you have to create
Yeah.
this connection with
Yeah.
your supplier, and then you also have to somehow market yourself, because having a website is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So just have a website, so you have to do quite a few more things than just like set up a website in order for someone to take notice and actually buy from you, right? So how did that happen?
I've always just marketed on social media and it just spread out word of
Oh,
mouth. Um, I don't know how else
what
I
was your first product? What was your first product that you launched on your website?
some of the local products, coconut
Food,
sugar, coconut sugar,
coconut
uh,
sugar.
Malaysian products such as
Mm.
uh, instant noodles,
Okay.
Milo, um,
Well, Milo is an
snacks,
international brand. Like there's
snacks,
Nestle, right? Milo.
yeah, snacks and all that. Yeah, yeah,
So you just thought like, oh, this would be nice things to sell to the British, and then you approached Malaysian suppliers, and I don't know, you shipped a few boxes of inventory or of food over to the UK. Is that what you did?
yeah. But most, I have to be honest. Most of my customers are mostly Malaysians or come from Southeast Asia, where they can immediately identify a lot of these products because during
Okay.
COVID, it just helped them to satisfy their cravings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They were homesick.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So you
They
knew a lot of Malaysians in the UK. You had this kind of Malaysian community in the UK. So you knew some Malaysians in the United Kingdom. Is that right?
I didn't know a lot, but it was from social media that I just
Okay.
shared what I had, uh, spoke to a lot of customers, and just trying to understand what they wanted, what they needed, and yeah, just getting them through the pandemic. Really, yeah,
Okay. But before you can speak to a lot of customers, you have to have a lot of customers, right? This is still
yeah,
the part that I'm like, how, I mean, of course, we all know some. I mean, I know a few Germans in KL. Yeah. So, and I'm assuming that you knew a few Malaysians in the UK where you were living. And then from your social media, you connected with them and then they started buying from you.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I was. Excuse me for digging deep, but this is the core aspect of any online business. It's like, how do you start to get your first client? I mean, that is actually the most exciting one. How do you get someone to take notice of you and actually buy your stuff? And for you, I guess it was word of mouth. It was being present on social media and helping those people during the pandemic, to satisfy their cravings with products, from their motherland and, from what they are accustomed to, and just giving them what they want. So yeah, I guess that was your foot in the door kind
yeah.
of situation,
Yes,
right? When you,
yeah. That was yeah.
yeah, okay,
Foot
yeah.
on the door. Yeah, you're spot on there, Dano.
All right, all right. Yeah, I mean but because that's always the magic moment, because whenever we do stuff online, we have our product, our service, and then we have the client base. But to identify, to make them curious, to get noticed, to build this community, which you amazingly, I mean, you did that so well. You just through word of. I don't think you spend much money on Facebook advertising or anything like that, did you?
No, I didn't.
There's you see.
No.
So yeah, so I guess the magic bullet for you was this perfect product to market match, because
Yeah.
you were giving people exactly what they wanted, and and the pandemic was actually supporting your business in a big way, because they couldn't go back to Malaysia and have
Yeah.
their nasi lemak or whatever. They actually were stuck at home, and you were giving them what they were looking for, and I think this is an interesting, like case study of how a business can start, but just giving people exactly what they want at that time, and then you have this word of mouth effect, which can
Yeah.
be strong enough to actually create a brand, what you're having now, and now you're operating on a very different scale. I'm thinking.
Yes. Yes. Very much.
Okay,
Very much.
cool. Yeah, that was very interesting to learn. Yeah, so how a banking officer from mBank can travel to the UK and start her business importing Malaysian food, selling to the British, and uh, and then build this up to a level where you actually be like already dealing with government institutions and
Yeah.
agencies who are approaching you now
Yeah.
to ask for your advice. And yeah, that is an amazing success story. I would like to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
You did, you did, you obviously did quite a few things right here to get to where you are right now. Yeah, and yeah, so that's great. How would you describe your biggest challenges right now in your business, like your growth challenges? Where do you see the biggest bottlenecks, or what is holding you back right now?
Uh, I just think that the business is growing, and it can't be a one man show.
Yeah.
And having a business partner, a new business partner, does help. But I do feel that the company will be growing faster than I think it will be. Uh, uh, I don't know. It just seems like I'm gonna along the way I'm gonna have to find the right people to be part of the company and all that. But I also want to make a lot of people understand that the platform that we use has always been the right way. For instance, I've registered the company here. It's a legitimate company. I've got a proper importing license and all that. I've got combined experience of more than 25 years with my business partner, B2C and the B2B platform as well. So we've got that experience. We've got the equipment to facilitate and support anyone from Southeast Asia or wherever they are to explore the UK and Europe market. So yeah, so that's the thing. I think it'll grow. I believe it'll grow a lot bigger than and faster than I can handle. So
Mhm.
I've got to be ready for what will happen in the near future. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is your biggest challenge, is actually your rapid growth.
Yeah.
And the challenge will be to facilitate and to expand your team, and maybe your partners, your resource partners, to help you with that growth. And to, yeah, I mean, that's a good problem to have. So if that is your biggest challenge, congratulations. Not too bad. Good, yeah, and I'm sure you can handle that. I mean, there must be a lot of smart people and out there who would be able to support you. And when you say your platform, what do you mean by platform? You mean like your business is that the platform, or
Yeah.
like
That's the
the
platform.
framework that you have built
Yeah.
in terms of like SOPs and how to do what, and
Yes.
the
Yes.
process of coming into the UK market, and what it takes, and all the legal requirements and all
Yeah.
that, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Because
it's not an online platform in terms of like some special
no.
SaaS solution or what? No.
Yeah, because I find that a lot of these companies, they don't know where to start, they don't know who to speak to, they don't know what to do. It's just
Yeah.
those simple things that we can help with and we can guide. there are things that, how are they going to pitch to the buyers? How are they going to present themselves? Those are just the small nitty gritty things that people might overlook.
No,
Um,
these are big things actually, and for most of all, who are the buyers? I mean,
yeah.
it's maybe it would not be so easy to find them without your help, because I guess one of your biggest service advantages is that you actually know who could be the buyers from them. You can connect them with their potential customers.
Yeah, we're talking to buyers like Sainsbury, Waitrose. We are in touch with the Chamber of Commerce. We are in touch with the Department of International Trade. So these are very very important uh, people that you need to sit down with and talk and discuss about.
Yeah.
We have a variety of buyers who come from Asian independent supermarkets that have been established in the UK since the 1960s. So we're in touch with them as well. A
All right.
lot. There's just so many to mention.
Cool. How
Yeah.
about the Germans? Are you catering to the Germans as well?
Yeah, the Germans are okay.
Well, I'm one of them, so you have to be nice.
Yeah. Uh, uh, I mean, to my
You
surprise,
don't
Dano,
have, yeah.
I didn't know that you were German, and
Ah,
uh, we have a German distributor in Cologne.
ah, that's where I lived for 7 years.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
speak Colognish.
You speak Cologne. So I've
They have a
been.
special dialect, in Cologne.
Do they? Do they?
Kölsch.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's called Kölsch. Yeah.
Gosh, okay. Uh, I've just engaged with them. They're small. They're a small company, but I've seen them grow, fantastically grow. They ordered a box, and then they slowly grew into more boxes, and now they're ordering like pallets now from
Huh.
here to the UK. But I'm very keen and very happy to work with them. They're from Cologne, and a lot of the products that a lot of brands that I'm speaking to, they're very keen to take on board as well.
So
Yeah.
they're doing the same thing. So they're bringing Malaysian products into Germany. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So their
Okay.
their focus
The
is,
products are recommended by you. So you introduce them to the Malaysian suppliers,
yeah.
and they bring in Malaysian food products to the German market, and they're selling it on, like, is it to distributors, or they're selling it online, or where they're selling it?
Distributors, yeah, distributors. They are focusing more on German-speaking countries such as Switzerland, Austria as
Yeah,
well.
makes a
So
lot
that's
of
that's a
sense.
big
Yeah.
big big scope for them, and yeah, I see myself growing with them as well because they have a set of ways of how things should be done, and they're very organized, which I like. Um, yeah, so it's been a fantastic journey working with them so far.
There you go. You met some decent Germans.
Some decent Germans, yeah.
Congratulations. Cool. So it looks like everything is looking bright on your side. The only challenge you seem to be facing is that you're growing too fast and you need more team. Um, that is, I think,
A
a
good
very
problem.
doable challenge, a good problem to have, and a challenge that can be overcome quite easily. Any closing word of advice you would give to someone who would like to become an independent businesswoman or man like you are today?
Uh, I don't have a lot of advice. I always keep to being disciplined, being consistent as well. Um, Focus on your target, your objective, and just not giving up. There will be times you feel like giving up, and you ask yourself, "What am I doing? What have I done?" And yeah, there will be sleepless nights and all that when you think about it. But I mean, just being consistent, really, just being consistent, being disciplined with yourself. I think that's going to take you far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree very much with this. Discipline, perseverance, and sometimes we have to swallow the frog, as we say in Germany, and just keep going. Yeah, it's not always easy. I can
Yeah, it's not
completely
easy.
agree with
Yeah.
that. Thank you so much, Cheryl. It was very enlightening to hear about your story, how you went from being a girl in KL to now running this Makan Bites, amazingly growing business in the UK. I wish you all the best further. I hope we can speak again. And for now, I say thank you very much for being on my podcast. And we meet in KL someday, I hope.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.